be taking care of PV every day. Taking care of PV every way. We've been taking care of PV. It's all ours. Taking care of PV and investing in our town, PV.
Hi everybody, my name is Bob Ticer, Police Chief for the town of Prescott Valley. Welcome to another edition of PV in Focus. Today we're going to have a conversation about traffic safety, the 3 E's of traffic safety for that matter. Me being a police officer, you might think that traffic safety is all about enforcement, and it's actually not all about enforcement. It's about education, enforcement, and engineering. So today we have Parker Murphy here, the traffic engineer for the town, and also Sergeant Shawn Caswell, our supervisor of our traffic unit at Prescott Valley PD. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. Shawn, why don't you talk a little bit about your unit and what we're focusing on here from the police department when it comes to traffic safety in town?
Oh, we are comprised of 5 officers. 4 of those officers are assigned to motorcycles, and they focus on areas of concern within Prescott Valley. Those areas are usually determined by crash rates, community complaints, and roadway issues is the areas we concentrate on. With some of these vehicles, we are comprised of unmarked police cars as well. Most of those cars are obtained from the Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
Those unmarked cars, I hear a lot of comments in the community about unmarked cars. I'm sure you do too. They usually are, why are you using them? I mean,
Right.
Why do we use the unmarked cars?
Well, the best way to explain it to it, which was I got from a driver I stopped one day. He liked the vehicle. He gave me compliments on the vehicle. So, I like it because it keeps the honest people honest. And I thought that was kind of a neat way to explain it. But the best way to explain them is to put them out on the roadway. They're unmarked. You don't see them. We generally call them aggressive driver vehicles. And with that, when these traffic stops are made, people are seeing traffic stops being made with unmarked cars. So now you got to think, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to speed, if I'm going to do this, I got to think about doing this in Prescott Valley because there's so many unmarked police cars.
Right.
So I like it because it sets a precedence that we're not going to tolerate that type of driving in Prescott Valley.
Right. So you often come across the drivers that are maybe habitual aggressive
Yes.
drivers, and they are pretty good about finding a black and white police car out there, but they don't always know about the unmarked, and then
Right.
we catch them in their element, and then you can introduce them to the local judge, right?
That's absolutely correct.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate that. Parker, welcome. Glad you're here. It's a really important partnership because we all know it's just not about enforcement. If it was all about enforcement, we probably wouldn't have any more traffic issues. But,
Right.
I'm not so sure we can just keep writing ticket after ticket after ticket and getting all the effects. We do get the effects, but how does your division come into play in traffic safety in Prescott Valley?
Yeah, so like you said, you mentioned the 3 E's. I come in on the engineering, somewhat on the education side as well that you guys do. We're big on data collection. So Shawn mentioned collision data. We take that into account, volume, speed, everything that we need to, determine something new that needs to happen to an existing roadway. So here, a lot of old streets, the network is kind of laid out. There's not much we can do in terms of recreating the network, so we have to work with what we have, and that could be new signs. We just put an always stop over at Granville Fairway in Santa Fe, made that an always stop. But we can also do, changing speed limits, adding striping. One thing we just did on Old Black Canyon out in the Raven Ridge area was we put edge lines in, kind of constrict the roadway. It was about 16-foot wide lanes. We've got that down to, I think, 11 and a half or 12. And visually for drivers on the speed side, they see that and like, okay, I have less room to work with.
Got it. That's really good. I'm gonna have to take a drive out there because most lanes are about 12
Yeah.
feet, 12 feet 2 inches.
Yeah, the average is, the typical is 12, throughout the jurisdiction, and other places, you can get as low as 10, but 10, 11, 12 is basically what we work with.
Great. And this data that you gathered, you share that with the police department?
Yeah, and we've gotten some requests from your department to go put out. We have radar devices and tube counters that collect volume and speed, and it's a really helpful tool for all of us. Part of the data that we get gives time of day and can see, okay, we have people going 60, we have 15 people going 60 between 5 and 6. That helps you guys out in terms of when and where to enforce.
You call that a tube counter?
Yeah, we have radar and tube.
Okay,
So when you see two tubes across the road, that's doing volume and speed.
gotcha.
And the black boxes, we mount those to light poles or existing signposts.
Okay.
A little more inconspicuous. Because the tubes, sometimes people see the tubes and they're like, oh, something's happening here, they'll slow down. The radar is a really big advantage for getting that free flow speed.
So then you can get kind of a true picture of what's
Yeah.
going on with the speed in that particular surface street. And then Shawn, you can grab that data, right? And then you can deploy your resources to those areas certain times and dates.
Oh, absolutely. And it's very helpful. It has really helped solve a lot of problems within the community. And the community has been very grateful for that system.
So you mentioned a little bit earlier when you were talking about, I mean, there's yourself and a handful of traffic officers and then our entire patrol division, which one of their goals is traffic safety. You can't be everywhere all the time.
Right.
And we know that's frustrating for the community when they're like, they want traffic enforcement on their road 24/7. That would be wonderful, but it's not practical, correct?
Yeah, it's not using our resources the appropriate way.
So using your resources the appropriate way, can you take this data that Parker's talking about and then put officers out during certain times and then go to another area based on additional data and kind of bounce your officers around so they're there when they need to be there?
Yeah, absolutely. Those boxes are a wonderful resource, and we commonly refer to them as the fish finders, as they find the fish for us often and find exactly what time we need to be there to enforce.
And then what about just routine patrols? Do your officers go out and focus on just routine traffic enforcement?
Yes, those are strictly based off mostly community complaints.
Okay.
So we do go out and we do hit those areas such as Prescott East has a lot of community complaints. Viewpoint has a lot of community complaints. So we do frequent those areas more. And then we spend a lot of time on the highway as well because we always know that the driving out there.
Right, right. Well, we're having a great discussion here on traffic safety, and for the community, if we know that traffic impacts you, just like it impacts everybody in our community. So we'd ask you that if you have traffic concerns or you would like to see police officers out in your particular neighborhoods at certain times, to call the police department at 772-9261, and then it will be extension 2, and that goes directly to the hotline. Can you talk a little bit about the hotline, Shawn, once those complaints come in?
Yes, the hotline, which is not monitored 24 hours a day, and sometimes it takes us a couple days to get to that complaint. We go check the area out. We contact the reporting party who made the complaint. We speak with them. We get a little more information about what's going on and trying to figure out a plan that will best help them with the issue in their community or on their street. And then we go out there and we'll enforce it, just similar to the same method we use with the black boxes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Parker, back to engineering a little bit. You mentioned the streets that have been out here on the grid for 40-some years now, and you're looking at improvements. Are there any other big projects coming along that you see with the traffic improvement projects here in town?
Well, the biggest project we have right now is the Glassford Hill widening, but when we get down to more of these local streets, there's nothing programmed for them. We do have the pavement maintenance program coming up. That'll be starting in the next few weeks,
Okay.
going into the end of October.
All right.
And that, we analyze each of those on a case-by-case basis to implement those marking strategies, adding edge lines, adding center lines where they're needed. And, but it's just kind of case by, I don't have anything going on right now. As we get into that program, we kind of look at it as, before we go and stripe it, do we want to add anything else?
The Glassford Hill you mentioned, that's a pretty big one, right, coming up?
Yeah.
Adding a whole nother lane?
Yeah, so it's going to be 3 lanes in each directions from Long Look all the way to 89A.
Okay.
That design is wrapping up here, and hopefully we'll be out to bid this fall.
3rd lane either way.
Yeah.
And that's because of the traffic volume out there that's just ahead.
Yeah, so on Glassford Hill, we get between 24 and almost 30,000 vehicles a day.
It's a lot.
A lot of it is concentrated down more in the business area, by the Fry's and the Walmarts and where everyone has to go every day. But it'll really be that last push to get that finalized, the main north-south connector through town.
I'm sure the commuters will appreciate that. That'll give them a little bit more volume, but that'll get back into your area, obviously, in communication, right? Because we probably see some speeds increasing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure our motorcycle officers will be in the area, look for them. They're a friendly group, but they're all business when it comes to traffic enforcement. Is that correct?
That they are.
Yeah, they are. They do a wonderful job, and we appreciate that. Those motorcycles that you're using, those are, again, kind of like the aggressive driver cars. We've got those on grants, right?
Yes, we have a total of 4 motorcycles in the town. 2 of them came from the governor's office and 2 of them came from the fentanyl.
Great. That's awesome. So that's appreciated. Let's switch gears. We're talking about traffic speed and such. Let's talk a little bit about impaired driving. Recently, we shared with the community a 30% increase in DUI arrests in our town. Do you think that's this is a tough question, really. Do you think that because there's more impaired drivers or a heavier focus? And I mean, what do you think?
And there's a couple of reasons why. One, we felt 3 years ago we did an evaluation on our DUI program, and we didn't feel that we were meeting the community's expectations on our DUI investigations. We found several weaknesses within our training program. One was in the academy, one is within our training program in the department. So we started participating and assisting the academy with DUI training, and then when the officers get out into the field program, they spend a week long with us now, DUI training. All of the officers in our unit are now FST certified. Every officer in our unit is A-RIDE, which is advanced impairment, and the other half are all DREs. So we spent a lot of time getting educated ourselves and educating other officers, and I truly believe that's a big reason why our DUIs are up 30%. And then when I go back and I research the reports from 3 years ago compared today or yesterday, the reports are much better. I mean, the officers are spending a lot more time on their DUI reports. Overall, we built the confidence of the officers in the department when it came to DUI investigations. And my personal opinion, I think that's why we're up 30%.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for the leadership. Sergeant Caswell used a few terms in there, field sobriety test for his FSTs. He was doing a little cop talk with me right there, so I know what he's talking about. So we have field sobriety tests, we have A-RIDE, which is Advanced Roadside Impaired Driving Enforcement. That's kind of an intermediary between your DUI officers and your drug impairment certified officers. And then we have the DRE, which is a drug recognition expert. And I see those reports, and I know that the officers are making a lot of drug impaired driving arrests, so it's not just alcohol, correct?
Right.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Sometimes it's a combination of both, correct?
Yep.
Right. All right, as we're kind of wrapping up here a little bit, is there anything that either you or Parker would like to tell the public about how they can help with this traffic safety? Because it's not just us. It's not just sitting around the table. We have 50,000+ people here in town, a whole lot of other folks coming through. Is there anything you would like to share with the community as how they can help with this?
Yeah, I mean, I think always reach out to our department, you know, if it's PD or directly to Public Works. You know, we're working together on this to make the streets safe. You know, if it's speed, if it's, you know, asking for an all-way stop, if it's asking for crosswalks, we get those requests all the time, and we're out there collecting the data, doing observations, and trying to provide the best facility we can for everyone, not just vehicles.
I think that's great. So the community sees what's going on in the community, and they drive those roads every day. They see something unusual, potholes or design, or they're just not sure. Just call you and you can take a look at that. That's great. What about you, Sergeant Caswell? What can the community do for helping out with this picture we have? We're still talking about traffic safety after all these years. I mean, it's still there.
For us, we're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you see something of concern, whether if it's a roadway issue or possibly an impaired driver, call us.
Can we call 911 for impaired drivers?
Yes, that is, actually you can call 911 for impaired drivers.
Right. So we encourage you to do that. Yeah, it's not just trying to memorize that after hours number, but if you see an emergency out there, and that is an emergency, if you see somebody suspected of driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol or combinations of both, please call 911. That'll get to our dispatch center. We can get officers right out there. So, gentlemen, I want to say thank you for what you do, not only for being here today, but what you do to keep our community safe, and for your leadership as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on PB in Focus. We really appreciate you watching these videos and learning a little bit about what's going on in traffic safety here in our community. And stop by and say hello if you're in the area. And we appreciate you, and see you on the next episode. Have a great day.
We'll be taking care of PV every day. Taking care of PV.